So stoked to bring out your guest. You might know her from a lot of different roles. Oculus, recent awesome horror film, the great series Selfie, and the list of her credits goes on and on. But it's possible that you're also in love with her because of two roles in particular. Amy Pond in Doctor Who. Please welcome the awesome Gillan! That's yours. Hey, Karen.
Hello. Hi. Toronto. I made it.
You made it!
So happy to have made it.
Oh, and you were shooting until we saw your tweets. You shoot till 5 a.m. on Friday,
I
right?
remember it was a blur, and I was dressed as a Puritan, and I was really confused. I was like, where am I?
Did you change out of the Salem witch trial costume before you got on the plane?
Oh no, I mean I did, but I wish I didn't. But I definitely, they put dirt in our fingernails and everything to make it authentic, and I definitely had really weird, dirty hands. I was like, ugh.
Well, thank you for being here. Do you love coming out to the conventions? Because obviously, especially now, you've got so many different roles that people want to meet you for. I guess initially it was probably all Doctor Who, but now there's Guardians and Oculus and so much else. So is it neat as time has gone on?
Yeah, it's really cool. I feel like it's expanding, and I'm getting to do other things that people appreciate at these conventions, and that always makes me really happy. But I'm glad to see there's still lots of Whovians.
Before we open it up to the floor, now that you're a few years past your time on Doctor Who, obviously you were in Matt Smith's last episode. How heartbreaking was that cameo? Oh, it was amazing.
Broke my heart.
Time of the Doctor. Do you have a different perspective on the series now that it's been a few years since you've been an active part of it?
I guess I just get to watch as a fan now, like everybody else. And the cool thing is I don't know what's going to happen, so that's good. But also I just get really nostalgic and sad that I'm not on the TARDIS anymore. It's really hard to watch. I can't do it.
It's probably how a companion would actually feel in real life, right?
Yeah, that's the reality of it. Who's this new girl that you're running around time and space with?
Have you been keeping up with it, with now Peter Capaldi as the Doctor?
Yeah, I was really intrigued to see what Capaldi was like in the role. I'm glad to see that there's still a Scottish representative. So very strong. And yeah, I love his relationship with Jenna. I think that it's really cool. And it's a new, interesting dynamic for the whole show.
It's amazing. And before we open it up to the floor to questions, Amy Pond and Nebula, would they be chums in real life? Would they get on? Would they be mortal enemies? How would they do in real life?
I would love to think that they'd get on, but I just don't think they would. I think they'd hate each other. Nebula would be all moody with her cybernetic arm. I don't know. And Amy's more of a good guy.
It's pretty chill.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Toronto Comic Con is all about you, so let's get to some of your questions.
There's an Elvis in the audience.
This is Midnight Elvis from London, Ontario.
I love it.
Elvis, do you want the first question?
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Elvis.
Oh, that was Spiller! Obviously, when you think Canada, you think Elvis, right?
I was hoping to be Elvis when I was here, and it happened.
First question. That's awesome. What about you in the front? Hello.
Have you found a source that I haven't heard yet?
Oh my God, you're very Scottish. That's exciting. I haven't found a source. My source is the conventions now because everybody keeps giving me Iron Brew, which is amazing. Oh no, people did. It's all good. I have a lot of E-numbers in my system right now.
And you've got a TARDIS. Do you want to hold that up for everybody to see? Oh, amazing.
That's so cool. Oh yeah,
Cool.
I will.
My question is going from being to Nebula is so physical. What do they put you through that have to train for that?
So just for the folks in the back, the question was about the physical training for Nebula.
I had to train for 4 months prior to shooting Guardians of the Galaxy, and I had to work out 4 times a week, which I've never done before. So that was a bit of a shock to the system. With this amazing trainer called Duffy, who worked with Chris Pratt for his physical transformation as well.
Really?
Yes, we worked with the same guy, and I was like, whoa, Chris Pratt saw results from that. I didn't really make it that far. But yeah, and then for the actual fight sequence in Guardians, I had to learn that every day that I wasn't shooting, and then I practiced with Zoe Saldana, who it took about 4 days for her to learn the routine, and it took like 2 months for me to learn it. She's really good physically because she was a ballerina and she's done all the sci-fi movies before.
Right. And so obviously you have stunt doubles too, but did James Gunn try to get you in as much as possible in terms of the fight?
Yeah. Whenever you're shooting a fight sequence in anything, they want to use the real actors as much as possible because then they can use as many shots as they want. But luckily for me, I was quite disguised, and my fighting double had all of the same sort of makeup on, so we got to use a lot of her stuff. She made it really cool.
Awesome. Let's stay in the front for one more. Tom Baker's card. Hello.
Hi. Thanks. The dirtiest, did you just say?
This is a PG panel.
What do you mean?
Oh, so funny joking around on set. Got it.
Oh, like a funny scene. Oh, I'm trying to think. I mean, there was one with me and Matt, but Arthur wasn't in it, unfortunately. Sorry, Arthur. It was in The Beast Below when we were in the whale's tongue. And me and Matt spent the entire day in this sort of like goopy substance with real cabbage in it. Oh my god, and we were soaked all day and we had to go down the slides to sort of slide into the shot. And it was like being at a theme park or something. But then after like 2 hours in the goop, we were like, oh, we're in cabbage. So that was pretty weird. And funny, there were lots of jokes that day.
Did it make shooting the show a lot easier that you did? I mean, all three of you have talked about the chemistry you had behind the scenes. Did that make shooting the show even more fun? And do you think that's part of why the trio worked so well for us as fans on camera? Because we were seeing chemistry that you actually had in real life?
I've got to be honest, like, our relationships on screen were pretty much the same as they were off screen. I mean, I'm not married to Arthur. But I mean, like, it's just the whole banter, and I mean, it was even more ridiculous in real life. We had to, like, tone it down for the show, if anything. Like, the directors would just scream at us, like, remember to stay in character. And we're like, oh my god, we're, like, working right now, I forgot. So it was just so much fun, and, you know, we worked a lot of hours, like 6 days a week a lot of the time, so we had to like find a way of keeping our energy up all the time, and that was kind of subconsciously, I think, what we were doing to just sort of like keep morale up.
Other one with the floor, let's maybe go, we'll go right here. There's an Amy, hello.
Hi.
Hi, Amy.
It's so great to finally get to see you.
Oh, thank you.
I actually went to England to try and meet you, but you canceled.
Oh my god!
But you canceled. And then you almost canceled this time, but you didn't, so that's awesome.
She's here!
So my question is, if you could write an episode of Doctor Who where you like went back and met a historical character, who would it be, why, and what would happen?
It really would be. It would be Elvis. I would go back, the TARDIS would land in Graceland, his house, and I'd be like, hi Elvis. And then we'd go, he has this jungle room in his house, because I really do love Elvis and I've been to his house. Yeah, and it's an amazing house, Graceland. So we go into the jungle room, but then we realise that the leaves are coming to life, and they're evil leaves, and they're coming for us, and sucking people into them, and turning them into tiny evil trees. And then Amy saves the day by killing all the evil trees and
Murray
leaving the good
dies.
ones.
And Murray dies.
And Murray dies, obviously. And the doctor resuscitates him, and we leave Graceland, and Elvis is okay.
Have you talked to Stephen Robbins? I haven't watched that. That'd be a great episode.
Yeah, and we have our actor for Elvis. That's perfect.
I want to ask you about Stephen Stephen Moffat, in your mind, you know, kind of looking back at the show now, what was it that he brought to Doctor Who, and how did he, in your mind, kind of elevate the series as someone who was a part of it?
Well, for me, watching Doctor Who before I was in it, I always thought his episodes stood out rather a lot, actually, just because he's such a good and clever writer. He's got a sitcom background, so he's really good with the one-liner jokes, but also he's just an incredibly intelligent man, like too intelligent. It's scary. And yeah, I think that he just has like an otherworldly brain, and so when he finally took over the reins of Doctor Who, it was amazing. And he'd been waiting to write his first episode of Doctor Who as the showrunner from being a little boy, like a 7-year-old boy. So he had the 11th hour in him for all of those years. So it was really nice to see him live that.
Awesome, cool. Let's go to the end. Hello, sir.
Was it ever awkward doing a kissing scene with Matt or Arthur?
Were the kissing scenes awkward, was the question for those in the back.
Yes, so awkward! Like, on the Richter scale of awkward, it was, the highest possible. With Arthur, I kind of got used to it because we'd have to do it fairly regularly. But kissing Matt was really awkward because, he has become like a brother to me. Both of them have, actually. So, it felt a little like incest, which is awkward. So yeah, the Matt kiss was pretty awkward, but we were professionals and we got through it, but I was laughing quite a lot.
Let's go to the back. Hello. Hi.
How much of yourself did you put into the character of Amy Pond?
Question was, how much of Karen's self went into Amy?
Oh, I don't know. It's really hard to tell when you've played the part, and I like to think that I played a totally different character to myself, but I don't know if I did. I don't know. Inevitably, when you play a character for a long time, more and more parts of yourself slip into it. So I think that's kind of what happened. I feel like she's a cooler version of me. She's kind of like the version of myself that I want to be. That's how I would describe her.
So Amy would take Karen out on the town, basically, right?
What?
Take you out on the town.
Yeah, she would
you all
show
the
Karen
clubs.
a really fun night.
Yeah.
Karen would be like, "Wow, you're so cool."
How much of the character of Amy as a character do you think was defined by her beginnings, by being the girl who waited, a little girl,
Yeah.
guy in a spaceship, I'll be back in 5 minutes, 12 years later? How much did that impact who she became later on in the show?
Well, for me, that was like the starting point of working out who this person was. So I sort of thought, she was always she remained that little 7-year-old girl waiting for the Doctor her entire life, and then she just sort of built this hard exterior around herself. So that's where that kind of strong feistiness comes from. But really, underneath, she's that vulnerable little girl just waiting for this magical man.
Cool. Let's go here with the sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
How did you keep them mentally apart?
That
Girl
was
who
really
waited.
hard to do that, actually, because it's really weird when you play a character who is your own age, essentially, and then you have to play a version of that character who is kind of oldish lady. I was like, how do I do that? That's really difficult. So I had to kind of work out who that version of Amy was. And I kind of, that was very much based on her environment and how she hadn't had any human contact for about 40 years or something, so that's going to affect a person. So I kind of thought of it in those ways. But then when I put the prosthetics on to make myself older, that kind of really helped with the performance, and I realized that I don't age very well. So I've been really healthy ever since.
Let's go to the back, yes, with the camera. Hello, sir.
Hello. Got to ask you, who is your favourite Doctor?
Favorite doctor?
Ooh,
a hush ball.
I don't know who I'm going to choose. It's Matt Smith, it has to be. I am biased, yes, but also I do think that he plays the part so well. It's my favourite interpretation of the character. I feel like he's kind of like an alien in real life. So it's kind of perfect casting. Where are you from, sir?
I'm from England.
Yeah, I can hear that. Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
Yeah. Woohoo, Northern. It's probably two things. The good script. That's always a plus.